Hi everyone. Sorry, 20 seconds late. I was trying to figure out something. I was first looking at my watch, which is on work mode, which basically shows ultramarine blue background, and then I saw I could change the colors of my numbers, and I was doing that, and then I thought, oh, let's not forget to change the pigment background and pigment number, and yet I did that. So there's ultramarine blue around me again. Welcome everyone. So last week was a bit of a weird live stream. Today is not going to be any less weird, I guess, because still not quite better. Just still a little bit ill. Need to take it slowly. Quick update and everything, and then I can just stop talking about myself and show you some things I wanted to show for a while. My shoulder feels like it's being ripped apart from the inside, so that hasn't changed. It's even gotten worse. Andrea, welcome. So as a I took some. I want to say I took some days off. I didn't really, but I took it quite slowly, a couple of days, but that didn't feel right. And I was talking to with Mark about this, like, you know, I need to work. I need to, you know, continue working on orders, and but then again, this hurts way too much to even almost dress myself. Be glad I can. Oh, thank you very much, Gulchen. I don't want to quit with, you know, me not being able to dress myself because of my shoulder. So I wanted to do something, but, you know, milling paint, even putting things in the 3-roll mill, it hurt so bad one day that I just couldn't clean that. I knew that I couldn't clean my slab, so I definitely didn't want to try not cleaning the 3-roll mill. And I decided to start writing a book, a children's book, within my niche. So I'm giving it a go. I don't have any experience with that, but I do know what I kind of have in my head. My 2 daughters are 8 years old, and that's kind of the age group. A little bit educational, a little bit adventurous, wondrous. It's all kind of in my head still. I've written some things down. There's like a red thread that, you know, that's there. But then again, obviously I want the illustrations, because it's going to get illustrations. I want it to be watercolor, and I can make, if I say so myself, quite a good batch of paint. But I'm not much of an illustrator, so I'm still looking for those. So if there's any volunteers who feel the urge to illustrate a children's book, let me know. Thank you, Gulchen. Thing with I really appreciate it. The thing with Yintico, it's a bit of a weird. It's a bit of a weird guest we have here. Who's Rick? No, sorry. It's a bit of a weird thing, Yintico, since it sounds very similar to Yinmin. You know, obviously it sounds different, but feels the same. When we talk about it, it's both a new pigment, both yttrium and indium as elements of making the actual pigment. But one of them, Yinmin, was discovered by mass subramanian of the Oregon State University. And the other is made and thought of discovered. Basically, it has nothing to do with him. There's a company that has the patent of making Yinmin, and they also just thought, let's put those elements with something else and try to make something else. So it has nothing to do with the Oregon State University or the team that that worked on that. You've never heard of Yintico Red, unless it's I have a video about it. I'm going to share it with you since I think that video needs more views. It's like I said, it's a new red pigment. It was 3 years ago. It has been discovered in 2019 already, but it came to the market 2 years ago. And it's opaque, it's granulating-ish, a little bit granulating, slightly light pink, dullish pink. It's more vivid than Potter's Pink, less saturated than Quinacridone Magenta, way more opaque and slightly granulating. It is a beautiful color. In my opinion, it is a truly beautiful color. Let me have a look. If I do have a swatch here, but then it's me chaotic swatches here. Although I do have the PR pick. It's PR298, and this is the one. So Yintico. This is not color corrected. It's a little bit more. This is quite close. Yintico Red. But it's not discovered in like the same way. I'm just looking through my swatches here to see if there's anything comparable. Well, obviously Quinacridone Magenta next to it. PBR, no, that's too far to the R, And so a little bit of when we do this, Potter's Pink, Yintico, and Quinacridone Magenta. This Potter Pink looks way too brown over here. Well, I don't have a way to change it right now, but you can also just look at my Etsy to see the actual swatches of it on my page. Yeah, Yintico. Well, Yintico has excellent light fastness rating, and especially with the amount of pigment that I put in it instead of another brand. No, Schmincke released it first. Seriously, I think a month. They got it sooner than I had, which was a bummer. I was waiting for it. I didn't tell anyone about it, and then they dropped the bomb, and then I still didn't have the pigment, so I bought a tube of their paint because I was really curious about it. And it was kind of meh. That's what, if you look it up on YouTube, that's the reviews you find. It's meh. It's not very special. I can mix this with Potter's Pink and Quinacridone Magenta. It's a shame because it's a beautiful pigment with its great own characteristics. But they just didn't put enough pigment in it. And I know because there's just one supplier of the pigment. And so that's the same source that I have as they had it. And mine was so much more saturated than theirs. Which also came back from the reviews of people that bought it from them. And me. So that's a shame. Yeah. And there's no other ways of using it than the art world. So I think we can say goodbye to it very quickly. Yintico doesn't, but Yinmin does. Yinmin has great UV reflectance properties. Nicole, welcome. Also, I forgot someone. Let me just quickly... Do I have my mouse here? Can I quickly scroll up? Dana, welcome. I didn't say welcome to you as well, and I really hope I haven't forgotten anyone else. Andrea, no, that's where I was. Welcome everyone. Yinmin has great reflectance, UV reflectance capabilities. So for painting a roof with Yinmin would be great for just, you know, not letting any heat from the sun get in. The pigment now still is a little bit too expensive, but it's getting cheaper, and the properties of it do have its value. It's not UV, IV. What? Infrared? Is it infrared? No, it's UV, right? It's like this the rays from the sun. Is it infrared? No, it's not infrared, is it? It has great infrared or near infrared reflectance as well. You know, I can even read that from my spectrometer. I thought it was. Well, anyway, just look it up. It has way more uses than just, you know, for a pretty pigment, and even with Yinmin as a pigment, people are like, nah, it's quite expensive still. Infrared is heat. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Infrared is heat. It was just confusement on my side then. My apologies. Loads of people were comparing Yinmin to ultramarine, or ultramarine in combination with a cobalt, or even a mix between those. But it's slightly granulating. It is more stable than either of those. Not toxic. Opaque, which could, you know, for watercolorists could be a bit of a downside. It is less saturated, less chromatic. I'm sorry, I couldn't find the word. Less chromatic than ultramarine blue, but it's the purest blue we know so far. Yeah, Dana, thank you. I do know the difference, but you know, because of heat and sun, I was thinking UV. But that's heat, infrared. Well, that's, yeah. Didn't even think of that. So that was just a mistake on my side. It is, as a pigment, way more opaque, slightly less chromatic, but the purest blue that we know. So it reflects most other wavelengths in comparison to the other blues. Whereas some blues reflect a little bit, or it absorbs most. Reflects less wavelengths, absorb most. Some reflect a little bit more red. Some reflect a little bit green with it. That it goes a little bit to the cyan side, or it has a cooler blue. Or maybe like ultramarine, it's kind of a reddish, you know, if you want to call this reddish, but it's a warmish blue. Yinmin is the purest blue that we know. Yintico, well, not so much. Nothing like those qualities go for Yintico, because it's not the purest red, not the closest to magenta. There's nothing very worth mentioning about it, apart from that it is a lovely color. But yeah, I think it's mostly because of the first impressions weren't that positive, or weren't that like mind blowing. Um, I can I can just look it up. I have the paper somewhere. Somewhere is the paper. Just going to quickly self promote here. This is the video on Yintico. I've pinned it down. The video I did with Yintico. So if you want to have a look at that, you can do it after the stream or right now. Oh, it's fine by me. So a little pigment card in the way here. Yeah, that's it. It's UV absorption. And still very light fast. So it won't be broken down by UV, which is a good thing. I received a small box. And this box has some paper in it. And also some small bottles. It has a few bags in it. And a bag of powdered gummy. Oh, so let me get rid of this. Big shout out to Kramer Pigments. Not for sponsoring this video. I wished. But for the art materials anyway. I do get a little bit of discount with them. Unfortunately, no affiliate links are possible with Kramer, so I can all refer you to them, but I won't get anything for it. I would still do it because I love working with the products. So I'm going to skip the UV-IR discussion. The UV was absolutely my mistake. But I'm going to focus on other things right now. Things that I really don't know what they absorb or not. So powdered nothing. I didn't say anything yet. Just powdered gum arabic. Powdered gum arabic. Sorry, this maybe this was it. Because usually I use chunks. But this is to make my thicker binder. I have kyanite. I just went to Kramer. No, that's not true. It's been on my list. Atzacamite, because all days I'm forgetting usernames here. I was asking for it and didn't have this yet. That's the only reason I bought that. Another form of malachite, but I was really curious about this because it was quite bright green. And I wanted to know how yellow or how shifting that works when it's oxidizing. I have some malachites, but they're all a little bit more pale in their dry state. This one is quite green. Parisian Naples yellow, toxic. Burgundy ochre. Not quite sure why I ordered this. Tiger eye. And after I put my order, I found out I have a small bottle of this already. I just forgot to put that in my register. Green Jasper Sepia. I didn't have that yet. NBR 9. Not planning on making paint out of it, but natural sepia. Just interesting. A burgundy ochre yellow. I think these were like maybe historic remains, like pigments that go out of there. I don't know. And Bideford black PPK 8. I think same story for this. Yeah, Parisian Naples yellow, and I don't know. I really need to check my order and need to check the listing. Why this would be any difference? Maybe this went out of stock as well. That's a weird name, innit? Nepal Gelb aus Paris. I think that's weirder. Sorry for my pronunciation. Then we have Milori Blue. Milori Blue. PB27. Why not Prussian Blue but Milori Blue? I don't know, but it's a separate listing and I just wanted to find out. A cobalt bluish, greenish, lightest bluish. Thank you, Rick, for your great additions today. It really makes me happy. PB36. This is going out of the stock as well, and I wasn't sure I had this version, and you know, it just can't hurt to buy an extra version of a pigment I already have. Bistro Yellow. I just found this quite interesting yellow, and now even more so because of its graininess. It sounds more like it looks like an hourglass as well. It sounds more like an hourglass than any other pigment I have. Quite grainy, so there was a reason I thought that would be interesting. And a dye Camela Natural Orange 2. Because it was mentioned in the chat once, I think. So there's this. It's not a lot. It's not much. Yeah, this is basically Dorito powder. No, that's the other thing. I do have that. Somewhere, I do have that. Is that solvent yellow? Is it? I think it's this one, right? Isn't it? SY88? No, it's not salt. It's not. Where is it? No, it's tartrazine. It's orange, or at least it's acid yellow 85. This is literally stuff that goes in Doritos as well. So it's a bit more. We need less of this, I guess. You would need more of this for Doritos. So it's a humble order. Mostly small things, almost all of them stuff that I'm not quite sure if I put them on sale or in my shop even. I will use the gum arabic though. That makes me think of something. I will ask way too much money for it. It will be way too expensive. I know how to market myself, as you might notice. But would it be an idea to just add more sit as dots in my shop for those who would be interested, or would that be just a no? Just don't even do it. And if I would add more sits, I would also add meteorites, which is quite interesting. But it would also be very expensive. That's just a question I'm asking you, chat, if you can help me with that. I think it would be very interesting. Looking at my, I want to say vision, but I think that's always sounds a bit pretentious. Let's call it my vision. I want to be able to offer pigments that others don't. I want to be able to offer, not that others don't, then it sounds competitive, which, you know, as a business it should be. But I want to be able to offer something that so people who feel it's worth it can work with a product that you can't find anywhere else. So I want to offer that to, you know, the user, the artists. Yeah. It will be, Nicole, it will be more than 10 euros for a dot, I think. To be fair, I made a dot, one dot. There's just 5 grams of pigment in this bottle. This is just 5 grams. Oh, let me just get rid of the label. That's 5 grams of pigment. And I think I can make... If I would price this 10 euros for a dot, I would break even before expenses. So that's not including taxes I pay for this. It's not including taxes I need to pay for my sales, the fees I pay to Etsy, and even, you know, me making it, like the time it costs me, or the pen I printed it. So it needs to be, I think it's closer to $18 or $20 or euros for a dot of this. Now I do say it would be a, I wouldn't say that dot wouldn't be more generous than other dots that I would make. But this, I know this because of, I made this before. It doesn't shrink as much. So if I make it like a muffin top dot, it kind of settles as a muffin top dot as well. Whereas, for instance, here I have a dot of ultramarine blue, which, you know, I will put it close up here. I poured it as a muffin top. As you can see, it even spilled over on this side. And you see that dent in it. So this is a dot for me. This is a dot I would fill twice. No, Paolo, exactly. I wouldn't be breaking even at 10. That's just the. That was just like in my head. The costs of the pigment. I would. If I can take 6 dots out of this, it will cost. It will give me 60 euros, and this costs about 60 euros as well. But then everything else goes. Yeah, so yeah, no, I wouldn't break even. So yeah, that's going to be. If I would offer it, it's going to be quite expensive. But if people are looking for it, and that's kind of the thing I'm thinking about as well. If people would be looking for it on, I don't know, Google, and they think, hey, this is an interesting pigment. Is there anything more to know about this pigment? And they search it and they find someone who offers it as paint. I don't know. I think that's also the main reason I'm still selling Yintico paint. People who have never heard of the pigment won't buy a pen for the amount that I ask for it. It's quite a lot. The same story there. Can't go any cheaper there. So you really need to search for it to be able to find it, and it's only worth it if you know what it is. And I don't mind that. I don't mind offering something I would barely sell. I don't mind that at all. I like the exclusivity of something, and I want to share. I would really love to share what this color gives you. It is the most vibrant green we get from a mineral out of nature that's also stable. Yeah, Nicole, I know. But then again, I do offer a lot of things that's not for that group of people. Um, and I think that's what I wanna. I don't consider myself a luxury brand as well. It's I don't know. For me that sounds like pretentious as well. It's not for me. It's not luxury. I'm just using quality stuff with a lot of passion and attention to detail. That doesn't make it luxury to me. If I would make watch bands or wristbands, jewelry, it would make it luxury. Those same qualities. For me, it's not luxury. It's just common sense, I think, because I do feel about pigments in the way that I work with them. I don't look at them in any different way, but I do want to pay a little bit more attention to some things than others might do, or that others find worth it. I don't think that all of the paint makers would even consider spending money on a pigment like this, which they would probably never use or didn't plan to use it when they bought it. Not for making paint, at least. So yeah, that is one thing. So this is, like I said, this is a humble order. A few things I didn't have, a few other versions of things I did have, like Jasper and Tiger's Eye. Green Jasper, Tiger's Eye. Tiger's Eye is the one that, like it's brown. It's not a special brown, it's brown. Green Jasper, it's not really Jasper, it's like a greenish grey. Amethyst was like a coolish grey. And it's all within the same family of minerals. No, Gulshan, that's fair enough as well. I do like to share it, but also like I'm not selling the unethical things, but I do like selling or sharing in my shop, selling specialty pigments, specialty products. I think that's better than a better word than luxury. Nicole, you're in advertising. It seeps in your soul a bit. Oh, please do contact me because I'm very bad at this. I'm just very bad at marketing, preparing even myself or others for my shop opening. I'm just, to be honest, I'm terrible at this. I don't know why I chose to be in a commercial business in the first place. I think I never thought of it that way. Which sounds really wrong. That's just proof I'm really bad at this. The worst thing, maybe, I didn't, but that's and because of my shoulder. Plus, my kids were still feeling. I myself have been ill for most part of the week as well. So I haven't started on the video for my Etsy listings where I tell why my paint is a little bit more special than regular paint. That's terrible, but it's kind of the idea behind it. I don't want to say I'm better than others. I don't want to say my product is better than others, but I do want to share what kind of methods, technology, attention to details, passion I use in the process of making my product. And that's through a video. And I think the only way of marketing and sharing that part of my business is these lives with 11 people watching, which I'm very thankful of, by the way. It's not a complaint, but it is not like the right strategy for me as a business. If I look at it like that. So yeah, it's a bit. If you feel the urge to help me or anything, please send me a message or contact me. If you don't, I understand that as well. So I'm going to put these things back in the box because obviously I don't need to put that in my system, but there all these pigments need to be put into the system before I'm going to put them on the shelf. Mossitsit isn't one of them. Still an annoying name though. That's maybe a reason to sell it as well. Mossitsit. It just sounds funny. It sounds even not like something serious. Cosmocolor jade. Mossitsit. It's just fun. Fun is another reason. And that's why I also started making my Dirty Blue Junior pellets, which I have sold a few of them over the last weeks. I was very happy about that. I'm very happy with the sales I made. Apart from what was sold, but I saw the Junior pellet selling a few times. I was very happy about that because it's taken a long time before people noticed that or wanted to try that. And I made that for my kids. It was just purely, I saw what watercolor paint for kids like did in the shops. I have the experience myself as well, from when I was young, way back in the day. You're just disappointed. During my time on the Art Academy, especially my first year, when you're trying all kind of all media, everything, you get just everything and a little bit of everything to get a taste of what it is. And as a student, you don't have a lot of money, so you start off with just things that are complete shite. That doesn't mean it makes bad art or makes bad drawing or studies. But the control over a color and the control and the vibrancy that you get from high quality materials, it made such a world of difference. It was the first time I used, I think, like a serious student grade watercolor paint, which was way more vibrant than any of the cheap stuff we use as students. Same with acrylic paints. Like, we even made our own acrylic paint with acrylic resin, wood glue, and pigment and water, and just mixed that like with a palette knife in a bucket, so we could work that with the entire class for studies in drawing models that were like in the middle of the class. And then studies with like a large brush as well. We were working on pages that were 1.5 meters by 1.5 meters, so quite large pieces of canvas. But then when you work with the good stuff after that, that was just a world like opened for me. Like, it made it so much more fun to get that thing that's in your head on paper with colors that are actually kind of looking the same as they're in your head. Well, Gulchen, yes and no. I know that I was quite disappointed when I was a kid, especially with colored pencils and with watercolor paint. Like with the tempera kids paint or gouache kids paint, it's like they don't try to mix a violet or a purple. It will fill miserably with the blues and reds that you get there. But they are quite opaque, so the color stays. But watercolors were always meh. they were really meh. Not Yinzico meh, but actual meh. And I noticed that with my kids as well. And I noticed they have a creative father, one that happens to make paint and knows a lot of things about color, and works with color and has a lot of art materials as it is. I mean, like I've kind of I showed you, a few times back, what kind of weird crayons I have, just because I thought they were interesting for my own work, and I never used them. And some of them, especially markers as well, I gave them to my kids. There's loads of color pencils that are way too expensive for them to use. Luminance pencils in there, Holbein pencils, Sennelier pastels, oils, soft pastels that I don't use anymore. It's a shame I don't use them. They're for my daughters. If they want to use them, they're theirs. But right now, I think they're just a year or two too young to just draw with pencils of 3-4 euros piece, and kind of get the value of it. And see that as well. The color pencils that they have right now aren't the cheapest ones as well. They want to have bright colors, and that's why I started back to the beginning of my story. That's why I started my junior palette. I wanted to get just pigmented. I hate that word, but pigmented kids paint or student quality paint. It can be seen as student quality paint as well, because the paint that's in my junior palette is way better than the things that some students or most students start with. It's just it's not only single pigments. So the light green, it has filler in it. The light blue and the turquoise and the magenta, it has filler in it. Yeah, but that's why I can offer it for cheaper. If I would use the same pigments in that, but less pigment than in my regular paint, I would still make it more expensive than it is right now, and you would have paint that is less fun to work with. And fun was the most important part for me. And if they can prove they can treat the ones they use right now, then they can later use the good stuff. Yeah, they're definitely allowed to use all my art supplies later. I mean, I would even make custom paints for them the moment they need it for the painting they're working on at that time. I would do that for them. So I really don't care, but it would be a shame if they, for instance, in 6 years they really want to make something either for a school project or a personal art project or whatever, and they actually want to use the good stuff, and they find out that they've broken everything when they were young. That would be a shame, and they won't notice that difference. But with the paint, they really did notice, and I was really happy. I'm really happy to see them anytime I give them a new pan of paint, because I also made round pans for that palette, and I just sometimes I put a bit of glitter in it or a mica in some paint that I have left on my slab, and just make a separate pan of that. My apologies. Getting away from all the microphones. Roberts, what is your favorite brand of colored pencils? I think Caran d'Ache there. I like Faber-Castells as well. a lot. But when it comes like to the real, like the creaminess, when you can blend them and layer them with just a little pressure, I think Caran d'Ache wins it. I think. Although I do, if I look at it here, I had a set of Prismacolor pencils which were really cheap, but they surprised me a lot. And what liked about those is that they had nice pastels in it, and I also bought the pastel and neon set from Holbein. No, that's not Holbein. Erogen, yeah, that's the one. This brand, silver letters, and you know this. I like those as well. But that's just because it's something that others don't really offer, with a reason, obviously. Well, I noticed, and that's I saw that last week with by the Lidl, the supermarket here, or one of the supermarkets. It was a big box of art supplies with watercolor paint, oil paint, colored pencils, crayons, regular pencils, these graphite pencils, pastels. What else? Markers, a little palette, brushes, and paper in a big wooden-like box, which was also an easel, for like 15 euros. And I remember those from when I was young. I remember the smell of them even. The fake wood with the layer of veneer over it or whatever it was, with the plastic inserts, with all those stuff in it, and it looked so awesome as a kid, and it was so disappointing all the time. The markers were just the points just broke off. The pencils didn't do anything. The paper was just terrible. It was like writing on or trying to paint on toilet paper. There's so much frustration in a box. Yeah. Yeah. I would say the box has most value, apart from the fact that, you know, for an art project, you know, I've showed you the insects that I made, and there was also during my time it was still my school time, I think. I don't know. I thought, oh, I have one of those boxes still. Let's just take all the crap out of it and use that as a nice insect box. And when I got those plastic inserts out of it, it was just MDF, which was spray painted with some sort of varnish. And there was just like glue gun. The plastic inserts were inserted with glue gun. It was such a mess on the inside. It was like... It was cheap, bad. It was terrible. It was garbage in it as art supplies, and yet even it looked even rushed to put that in. Like, it's such a shame. So I never went any further than that. It would take more work for me to clean that up and make it look like something than just, you know, buy actual wood and just make a nice wooden frame with a piece of glass on it. So yeah, I ended up doing that. So yeah, that's some childhood traumas there. oh, that's like still not even a little bit less than last week. I think my voice is a little bit better, just a bit, because I still hear it myself. You'll probably hear it way more than I do. But yeah, why I started this, I really appreciate that some people noticed the junior pellets and showed interest in it, because I think they're worth it. And I also know, but that's why I also said that when I released them, when I put them in my shop 2 years ago, I think, maybe 2 years ago. They are, for if you consider that a kid's pellet, my daughters use them, and they're 8 years old. They are quite expensive, especially when you compare that with something you buy at the Lidl or you buy at the Action here in like in this part of Europe. I don't know where they all are. You buy them at a cheap store, and you find a watercolor set for like €5, maybe a little bit more, maybe even a little bit less, and then you get 14, maybe 20 vibrant colors, fun colors for kids to play with, and they never look like they look in the packaging. They're filled with fillers, if even pigments are used, because with some of them I think it's just chalk and dye. I think it's just a real shame, and it takes the fun away from that. Especially when I notice the enthusiasm that my kids start with something, and the enthusiasm comes from an idea in their head. And they are vibrant themselves. They are their fantasies, their ideas, their everything they think of or want to make. They first want to make something pretty or something wonderful-ish. There's always a hint of wonder in their drawings. It's never something serious or so. There's kids, obviously, but the things that are in their head, there's always like a little story behind. There's always something going on, and everything has color. It's not just a line drawing, which I really like, which also is a downside sometimes, because their first try will be full color instead of sketching first, which can be a little bit frustrating as a parent, because when it doesn't work, you get a frustrated kid that needs to start over the entire drawing, which was done all the way in color, instead of, just try to sketch it first. Try to do it piece by piece. No, just full color markers or color pencils, which are very hard to erase or even paint. I'm not going to sketch that. Which I love. I love the enthusiasm. I love that just taking a plunge in the deep and going for it, and handing them the paint that I made, which is way more vibrant, and it made it less worse for them to make a mistake as well, because when they did make a mistake, it was still vibrant and very colorful. So they made, I don't know, a rainbow out of it or something else. They made something out of it, which I thought, was really, I really admired how they went with that. But I also saw the level of fun being more during the process of it, which made me really happy. That sounds very serious, Rick. And that coming from the guy who gives us, some of your other comments here. No, that's good to hear. But those, as a kid, those can be fascinating. I mean, contemporary events then, moon landing. Sometimes I really forget what age everyone is here, but moon landing and contemporary event kind of puts it in place for me. Back when I was a kid, I loved drawing things from nature. So, you know, hedgehogs or squirrels, little colorful birds I saw outside. I was always kind of in awe by the colors of it and the changing of seasons. And was never able to capture that, but that wasn't just the art supplies fault there. It was also the amazement in my head about those colors was, I think, too much for me to express on paper, because I wanted to be too realistic. I think too soon. As a kid, I wanted to make things too realistic too soon, which, you know, I wasn't able to. So then I would just kind of give up or not do that what I had in my head, which was a shame looking back at it. Why you know, use realistic colors when you're painting a tree? Why not make it blue and pink, for instance? If it feels like that, if it's more fun like that, why not do it? That's kind of a limitation I think I had, which my kids don't have. And they try to really look at things and make things as, or try to really not imitate it, not replicate it, but they try to capture the essence of it. And as a grown-up, I'm really jealous at that capability of not feeling the limitations and just let your creativity do its thing without thinking too much. And the thinking, that's the problem here, I think. Anyway, I did have another box. It's not from Kramer, it's not new as well. The box is from Kramer, by the way, I see it right now, but it's an old box from Kramer, and it's not filled by things by Kramer. It is that is actually quite a heavy thing. And it is heavy because of one very particular reason. Let me get rid of those. I will just, as always, it's quite convenient that I put that there the other day. Let me just have a look if I can take you with me here. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Is that kind of okay-ish? I can't do it a lot. Can't do it anything differently, can I? A box, and in this box, they are the pigments I told you about last week. All the sample pigments of a paint company, and they're unlabeled. And these are like pigment swatches of the company. And this used to be in a wooden box. This used to be in a wooden display case, and it looked amazing. I'm going to read quickly what the chat is doing. Jacqueline, welcome. Yeah, that's exact. I'm going to add this to. Let me quickly do it to the screen. That's what I do as well, and that's not even something I need to do. They do on command. They do it themselves. So if we went somewhere, they start drawing as soon as they see a piece of paper. And I really love that. Sometimes in the morning when I need to go to school, it's a luxury struggle. Let me put it like that. They don't turn on the television. They want to draw. They want to create stuff. And I really love that about them. But when they dreamt of something, or when they saw something the other day, they try to, well, what you say, they just put their observations or their memories, how they remembered their observations on paper. I really love that. So these are what I want to say. These are all this. There's a lot of them, as you can see, because this part is 2 layers of white lidded jars, and let me get these in as well. Most frustrating part, I don't know what these pigments are. Here on the bottom, there's even an older sample set of this with the what is it again? This black plastic. I named it last week. I forgot it. Bakelite, I think. Glass jars, and as you can see, they look like hand blown. There's oh, completely wrong. Not even close to the lens. Where is the lens? Here is the no here. Where is this lens? Serious? Oh, there it is. Hello. Sorry, it's a bit weird for me. I need to look at my screen, which is at the side of me, while my hands are somewhere else. It has glass bubbles in it. And some of them, this is like CH, and then I don't know what this says because the handwriting is terrible, but it's CH something. I think it's chrome oxide green, looking at it, because it starts with CH, so it must be chromish. Lead white, I can read that. It's lead white. So it's an old sample set as well. Rutile titanium, dark side. Some of the letters are readable. This is a red. I have no idea what it says. Not a clue. I thought this must be ultramarine green, but it didn't react on acid, so it's not. I did check that. We could play guess the pigment. That's a nice idea, Paolo. It's an actual nice idea. So this is an entire layer of this to this box here with the tiny black lidded jars, and this is the white one. So there's quite a difference in size. Some of them have a little layer of pigment, some of them are quite full still. But I bought this collection from someone on Marketplace, and pigments like this, I think these were just custom mixes of paints that a paint company used back then. This is not a pure pigment, I do know that, but what it is, what it's mixed, I don't know. I also found the raw pieces of mineral, because those were in the jar here as well. Malachite, for instance, and yellow ochre. Something else, coal, or anything, something like that. Smalts, which is interesting. Oh, this is a fascinating box which is not on display. It's not even close to display because it was literally just in the cupboard there on a bottom shelf. I did change that a bit, so if I need the box, it will be. Oh, this is actually quite heavy. Will be somewhere here, I want to say, but I really need to make sure that nothing falls over. My apologies for the chaos. But now it's a little bit more in reach for me. That sounds interesting, Rick. I have both of them somewhere. That sounds interesting. But you know, that's part of the a part of pigment history in my collection. That is not on display, and it's actually quite a shame. But also, there's no labels on it, barely any labels. On the black ones, there are. But I know it had like 6 tiny jars with lead white, for instance, and some of them were broken. The glass was broken, so I threw some of them out a long time ago. And I know some of them were a bit suspicious when it came to green, and I thought, you know, I don't think it's Paris green or Shields green or anything like that, because I don't think it's that old. But I don't want to risk it as well. So one of those jars I put in a plastic container and put it in my toxic pigment cupboard. And the other one had a broken lid and the glass was chippy, so I threw that out as well in the toxic waste within a plastic bag, obviously. No, I think that is about it. Some of them are definitely lead pigments. There's orange and red ones that are, I think, 5 times as heavy as some other jars, which makes it quite obvious for me it's a lead pigment. Same with lead white. Like those are quite easy to identify. And what kind of lead pigment, I can't say, obviously, but I know that those literally heavy metal pigments aren't the safest things. So I do know that of them. So yeah, there was a reason it was on the bottom shelf, and I really need to find a solution for that. But it's not a box that you can easily take out of the cupboard as well. It's quite heavy and it's quite clumsy since it just barely fits in there. So not something I would use or take out every day, and my kids definitely can't. My kids don't come here without me as well, so that's another positive thing with the studio outside of the house. It's not connected to the house, so I'm not afraid that someone walks in here just and throws things or opens things or whatever. What we do with the lead pigments is part of the collection, to be honest. Grounding your canvas with flake white is also something that that hasn't been done quite recently, has it? The lead pigments, I have quite a few of them in my toxic cupboard over there, and some of them are quite. Oh, that came out of nothing. I'm sorry. Some of them are quite big, old glass jars with lead pigment that literally are, and they don't literally weigh a ton because that's way too heavy for such a jar, but they are very, very heavy. And for me, it makes it a little bit more fascinating. Like a old glass jar, and it's like heavy like that. I've never opened those, but I do think it's nice to have in my collection. But that's about it. I think I have one of those. I have one of those jars here without a toxic pigment in it. This is with I think it's a green number, or something like that. It isn't the oldest jar that I have. coolest example of a jar that I have like that. I think it's like an apothecary jar like this. But then, you know, this is, you can clearly see the line, I can clearly see the line on here. That's machine made. But there's versions where you can actually, on the bottom you can see it as well. There's version of it that look like they're hand blown glass jars like that, which really add to the character. Rick, I think I agree with you. Without even having tried it, I think I agree with you. So I wanted to share that jar with you, that box with little jars with you. Did I reorganize? No, but I did change the... Oh, hello, phone. There's still a phone here. Oh. I did change the 3D printed hooks I put on there. So that is a little bit more lit at the moment. Oh, and I did change that. I did... Old days. Thank you for noticing. Oh my god. I got frustrated because well, you know, check this out. I couldn't reach some things, so I bought a cheap wooden turning table. I 3D printed some brackets on it, and I just put a piece of wire around it because I don't want my things to slip off. And you know, that's more convenient like this, because I have loads of pigments which you can just spin around and take everything from the back instead of taking everything out. So yes, I did change something. Thank you so much for noticing. I fully forgot about that. And I don't have one of them. I have four of those four of those turning thingies. But I only had time to put in one. Yes, but thank you. And that was just a part of it, because there's still, as you can see, I don't want to brag. I don't want to make anyone jealous, or I don't want to set an example on what collecting pigments should be, because this is a terrible thing to do. But as you can see here in the back, there's like still, you know, the things that are not moving, still 2 rows with 2 or 3 layers of pigment stashed up on each other. I want to also put one over there, and maybe 2 over there, one for the orange and one for the violet, at least one for the yellows, because this is getting out of hand, and maybe a green over there. Not quite sure where I'm going to put the other ones. If my arm really hurts again, and I managed to clean up, that's very important, before that time, I can actually shoot a studio tour, I think. Maybe. But that won't be this week. This weekend I'm fully booked. Of plans and loads of things on the schedule, and not work related. So I won't be much in my studio as well. The big bag of yellow. Yes, there's a big bag of yellow and a big bag of red, if you notice that. And otherwise you can see it right over there. It's actually Maya yellow and Maya red. Still from the original mayapigments.org Inc. something company. I think it was Maya Pigments Incorporated or something like that, which doesn't exist anymore right now. And of that, I also have a bag of blue and I think even green. I don't have the violet. Daniel Smith bought all of that. Oh, which is a shame. Because I'd loved myself a bag of, or at least a jar, at least a bit. I don't have the pigment, and that's one of the things. I won't be able to get it either, I think. Oh, thank you. Thanks for joining, Rick. Have a great morning. Have a great day. Thanks for joining. Always fun to have you around, Rick. To checking you're even more elderly, Mom. Sorry, I'm just reading the. I'm just putting it in place. I'm sorry. It's a smoky whiskey today, slightly smoky. Not the smokiest. I don't think it's nice for my throat, the smoked whiskey. No. Should have poured a smoother one today. Let's just a cup of tea next to it. Oh, that's cold. Were there any other things I wanted to show you? I think in like the back of my head, it says yes. I had a list in my head with things that I wanted to do today, but then I got distracted, which never happens actually. Just like all the time, I think. No, I don't think so. No, for showing, not much other things. For making paint, I don't know if I should be making paint still now. It's like almost been an hour and a half. I'm not making it late today as well because I really need my sleep. Like the nights are a bit with the coughing and the full air pipes and everything. It's not been great last week. I'm really thinking of something that I thought would have been interesting as well. I can't think of it. Tell me about your painting, Gulchen. I think also with it's been a while that I don't turn on the news anymore. It just there's so much negativity going on in the world. I'm not talking now. It's like I've been doing that for quite a while now. I keep myself updated like on the important stuff going on, but that's about it. It's too much shite in the world. And like I said, I'm really in for more positivity. And that's why I'm barely on Instagram anymore as well. Just because of that. Just it's too much negativity on there as well. But last few weeks, there wasn't a place that I could hide from the negativity and all the things going on in the world right now, especially USA. That really distracted me. it's quite a troubled time we're in, I think, and it really bothers me. And it's weird. It doesn't happen that often, or at least I don't think about those things too much. But there hasn't been a morning for the last 2 weeks, I think, that there wasn't something that just blew my mind again the moment I woke up or the moment I opened the screen. And it's been really exhausting. I don't even live there. It's not that everything's perfect in this country, far from it, I think, but there's no family here. Like very valuable and dear pigment family friends from here. You know, I feel for you, for those of you who are in areas that are affected by everything. But usually when something, especially so far away from home, things are going on, it's like, okay, like this is the world we live in. This is like, this thing's going on, and then I put it aside. There's been things that have been just repeating in my head because I just couldn't wrap my head around it. I still can't. Paulo, yeah, but not only science, art, humanity, the very basics, the very fundaments of our being. I think it's going that far, and yeah, it's like right now as well. It's really bothering me. I have the feeling I'm watching a very terribly written Netflix show, and I just want it to be over. And like I said, I'm not even part of it. I don't live there, but I will be affected by it as a business. I will start to notice this. And on a personal, the personal side on it, I think not so much. Like I said, not living there. But I know, like I said, some very dear pigment friends here do live there, and I feel for you. It's yeah. So I don't want to linger on this. I don't want to have the negativity on here. But it's something that distracts me as well. It's something that keeps me a little bit busy, and I didn't know it would be. I didn't know it actually would. Yeah, Gulchen, exactly like that. You know, or when you're somewhere in a store where the radio's on, or when you open any kind of social media part that just forces it on you because it's something. I do think it's something that people need to be aware of what is happening, no matter if it's within your algorithm or within the things that you like. I will have a look at it later. I don't know where my phone is right now, but the awareness, I think, should be there. We can't ignore what is going on everywhere in the world, because then we will let things happen. But on the other side, if I don't keep myself like in a positive bubble, or if I just create that bubble for me and my family, I don't think I have the energy to keep standing up straight for myself. So worrying about things that I really can't control at all is just something that is not in the reach of my energy at the moment. Or ever will be, I think. I can't control what's going on. I can't change what's going on. And worrying about others that you... Yeah. What shocks me most is that there's still a lot of people who don't experience it that way. That's what amazes me most. Whether you agree with someone or not, there are things that I think are without a question not right for anyone. And there's still a large group of people that don't see that. So yeah, that had me busy a little bit too much over the last 2 weeks. No, I don't think you can. I worry about people I don't even know. Like I said, I really don't agree with what's going on in our country, but it's not as active. Prices here have gone up terribly, and everything in life has gotten expensive, too expensive sometimes. It takes the fun out of things. It takes the joy out of things. It takes the joy out of life, even. I sometimes have a hard time enjoying the little things without having to worry about the costs. And that stresses me out. It's gotten very serious right now, hasn't it? Same thing with culture here. The entire cultural department kind of is just it's gone. There's no money for it. That's a very healthy. Let me just put this on the screen as well, Nicole, because it really deserves that. It's a really healthy mindset. The only person that can take away my happiness is me. So if you make sure you can keep making yourself happy with anything, anyhow, it's just worth it. Otherwise, things get too dark, and I don't want to get that here. We're here just to have fun for colors and pigments and paint, and not things like that. And I won't take a political standpoint here. As a person, I have a lot of opinion about a lot of things. As a business, I sell paint to people who buy paint. That's about it. So I don't want to mix those two. But then again, I am doing a live stream with like 90% today. Again, just me in the screen. So it's not just about business. It's about a personal aspect of it as well. So I try to, especially in Instagram, I've never mixed politics or any opinions or shared anything like that on Instagram. But with this, I think also because of the humanity, the human aspect that we have here more than Instagram, I think I feel more comfortable sharing my feelings about some subjects, or like the rants I had. It wouldn't be something I would have done on Instagram as well. I don't want to rant. I'm not ranting. But they did release new paints, and ugh, are they now? I'm sorry. That was too much. Yeah. It's a weird world we're living in. And sometimes I really feel as a business, as a creative person behind the business, behind the product, I feel I need more people around me to work with. I don't want to say employees, colleagues. Because when I'm distracted, the entire line of work is just down. That's terrible. Robert, yes, colors reduce stress and improve mood. I do agree with you. But there's a but. There's a big but here, and it's not mine. It's I did gain a little bit of weight over the last holidays, but the but here, the colors around me here, and can I turn on all my lights here? Well, this isn't helping you a lot, is it? No. The colors I have around me here do reduce stress and improve mood. They give me a kind of a meditational vibe, which is great when I'm focusing on making paint. But also, when I feel a little bit down, I can also sit here and just watch, I don't know, any series or anything on my computer and still feel, this environment helps me, but it doesn't improve work always. Look, Gulchan, thank you for putting... Yes, okay. So, which comic is that? I am curious. Jacqueline, me too. I actually just went on a little a block around. It's just wasn't a really hike. Just before I went live, just taking a bit of fresh air, and just for 20 minutes, just walk a little block. Black Haze, it does ring a bell. I haven't read it, but it does ring a bell. How long does that already exist? Because I have a feeling I know it from DeviantArt, which has been a long time. I've seen something. I visited that, if it even exists still. No, it doesn't ring a bell when I see it. It might be possible, actually, that I've seen it there. Yeah, I was quite active on that back in the day. But yeah, let's have a look. I'm sorry, I forgot Robert. I forgot who said that. Colors, yes, they help, and not only like seeing the colors or working with the colors, making paint. Obviously, it's a wonderful thing to do, and it can be quite therapeutic. Not always. There's always frustrating pigments that need to be done, that aren't a really joy to to make, not like meditation, not like therapeutic. But reading about colors or looking things up about them is something I still enjoy a lot. I used to do that more when I had more time for videos as well, but I still this another thing I really need to be more active in. I just lack time. There's not enough hours in the day. It could have been your old fan art of it. Now I'm really curious. I'm going to look it up after the stream, which is in about 5 minutes, I think, because I'm really going to call it a night. I'm getting tired, and hopefully next week I'm really feeling better. Next week I'm definitely going to make some paint during the live stream. Maybe something I haven't done before. Let's have a look. What would be interesting to make, and also what I practically would be on my schedule. Anyway, I know I've done strontium violet. It's on the schedule. You know what? Let's make Yintico next week. It's quite a dry, fast drying paint. So I can do a quarter pen, a few quarter pens, and maybe a few dots of Yintico. I've done that during a live before, but it's been a while, and since some of you haven't heard about it, next week 9 o'clock again. This time, let's do Yintico. But before that, have a look at the pinned comment, which is a link to my video of making Yintico red, PR298. The till now latest magenta pigment. Can I say something about blacks? Well, they absorb most wavelengths. What do you want me to say about blacks? Gulchen, you bought the official Sonic the Hedgehog cookbook. That's not... I've seen all 3 movies. That's what I've done when I wasn't feeling well, laid on the couch last week. I've seen all 3 movies. They were quite fun. They were more fun than I expected them to be. And I think as an adult, having played a lot of video games during my entire life, actually, I think the Sonic movies are actually way better than the Super Mario one was, which I really enjoyed, and it's a lovely movie for kids as well. Super Mario. Sonic is a little bit, it's a little bit, you know, for older kids, not for my kids. But I thought it was very well done. There is a black that is really black, not just blackish or darkish, but really black. The blackest black that I have as a regular pigment is spinal black, PBK 26. It is the blackest neutral black that I have, meaning it doesn't lean warm, it doesn't lean cold. It's really neutral, and it's just a black. That's what I have. Then there is the nano black pigment, which is the base of like Fanta black. The well, it used to be the blackest pigment paint in the world. There's things that are darker or more absorbing now that aren't as well known, and I don't know the name of that because of it. I do have that. I've showed it a stream or so ago, which is somewhere here. I would sell this. This is 3 millimeters of liquid pigment. It's not a pigment dispersion. It's a liquid pigment. I don't know how that works. These are nanotubes. This is the blackest black that I have. But this is way too expensive for just making or selling paint. The spinal black I do sell. I do sell quarter pens of that in my shop because it's so black that a half pen is just too much, I think. Yeah, Musu black is the blackest commercial black that we have that we can buy, but like on sciencey level, there are more wavelength absorbing coatings. I think that's the best way to put it, than Musu black. If I'm right. I'm trying to say that very careful because I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, Robert, it's absolutely true. Anish Kapoor doesn't have the black. He has the rights to use it as an artist. It's not his black. But that's been beaten as well. It's not the blackest black anymore, and that is a material, not just a paint. It's not used with a brush or anything. But you know, there used to be like a race for the blackest black thing. I think it's kind of old news. The gimmicky thing is kind of lost there, and they're still making progress on that subject, making materials or coatings that are more absorbing, that are absorbing more wavelengths again and again. So 99.9999% of the wavelengths are absorbed. So it seems like a black hole. Literally, just there's no reflection, nothing. It's just the light just disappears in it. And they're making progress on that, like still. But the newish, the gimmicky thing is lost there. The news is gone. Fanta Black is like a well-known name in this. Anish Kapoor. I'm not even going to name the other person who makes a thing out of that. White is white, same thing. Same thing with the white is white, reflecting the most wavelengths. So yeah. Yeah, or just, you know, a certain artist turned paint maker. We can just, you know, if we paint him with the paint, we just don't see him anymore. That would be great. You know, you get me? Yes? Let's do that. Stuart Semple. yeah, just beam up a black hole. That will be awesome. I think this is a great way to end the stream, guys. Definitely back again next week. I want to say tomorrow, but I'm quite busy tomorrow. Definitely next week, Wednesday, I'll be making Yintico red, which should be able to, you know, let's have a quick look if the pigment works on camera, because the swatch definitely didn't really work. Let's have a look. Can we do the closer one? Yeah, it's kind of okay. It's a little bit too orangey on the camera, I think. Let's have a look if I can do the. That's not. It looks more like Potter's pink. Okay, so I'll have a look at the adjustments for the colors on the camera for this. Next week I'll be making that. Yeah, but Jacqueline, as I said, I do sell the spinal black in my shop. But I think you already said okay on that. Everyone, I hope you have a great rest of the day or evening or night. Hopefully I'll see everyone next week. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Good to see some of you popping up again. Some new names. I always want to say faces, but unfortunately I don't see the faces. So it was always fun and good to see new more people here in the chat. Hopefully it wasn't too boring, just, you know, me and just talking about stuff. I don't really mind doing it, but it's not my intention behind this. It's more sharing paint making and stuff like that. But I notice the more I get to know you as a group, and I do appreciate all of you. It's easier for me to talk about stuff around, you know, my work and pigments without just showing me making paint. So I do also appreciate that a lot about this little community we're building. Again, thank you very much, guys. I hope everyone has a great evening or a rest of the day, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.